Alright, so there's a lot of videos on the internet that talk about how to do some cloning of MiFare type cards. And I haven't seen one yet that actually shows the process from beginning to end. A lot that just show doing the dumping of the keys. So in this video, the hope is we're going to do a complete one from start to finish. Alright, so here are some examples of hotel cards that all use MiFare. And we're going to focus on two that are provided by Hyatt. We're going to use Cali, a good old Prox Mark III, and the high frequency antenna. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is start the Prox Mark. Alright, and I don't know if it's necessary, but I always like to do a hardware tune for doing anything. And the point of this is that it just seems to get the Prox Mark in a good condition. And basically we see that the high frequency antenna is connected and that the low frequency one is not, and therefore not usable. So first we're going to take the card, put it on the reader, and we're going to use high frequency, one for a reader function. And from that, we can actually see the data that is on the card and the unique identifier. So if we try the other card, we see that these cards are actually only different, or the first part of the UID is different, but the last part only increments by 1. Now this is important because it actually demonstrates that the cards are in sequential order, which is kind of a bad thing for the type of cloning that we're going to do, because it means people can make some assumptions. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the high frequency MiFare check command. We're putting in *1 like this, and basically MiFare check, we're using a 1K card. We don't know a key at this time, and we're doing a test of the data. And basically you can see that it's trying all the manufacturer keys, the default ones. And wait for that to finish. Cool, and we can see that I actually found a bunch of them. And it looks like a common key in here is the 12Fs in hex, which is a known manufacturer. So we're going to copy this and take notice of where its reference is. In this case, it is block 2, sector 2, block 0 at 0B. So we can use that to help build our next command, which is actually going to dump out all the keys. So to do that, we use high frequency, the MiFare again. We use a part of the command called nested. We're going to provide it our offset, which was 0B, if I'm not mistaken. Just to make reference to that. Yeah, it is 0B. We're going to include, put the 1 in. We'll put our found key, we'll just paste that in, and 1B. So, actually I think that was type A, there was a B. It was B, it was a B type key. And I found a no key, but we don't need that one because we already have that one. Let's see. Alright, let's try this again, slightly modified. There we go. Using the type A, we get a dump out of a key. Now this is the real key for the box. So what we're going to do with this key is we're going to copy that. Now we're going to run the same type of command, but instead of just using the 1 key, we're going to provide it the key that we found. 0, it was an A key. We're going to paste the key in. And we're going to dump that out. So basically we're doing a MiFare test. We're doing the nested vulnerability on a 1K key. We're starting at block 0, and it is the A key that we're using. This was the key that we found, and D dumps it out to a file. Let that cook. All right, so these are the entire keys for all blocks, all sectors and blocks for that card. So now that we have that, we can actually dump out the entire card. And as you can see, the keys got dumped to dumpkeys.bin, which is going to come in helpful in a bit. So what HF, high frequency MiFare dump does is it's going to read in these keys and try to do a complete dump of every sector of the card. And here it goes. Dump in the blocks. And as you can see, it's dumping to dumpdata.bin. Awesome, it's done. So now that we have those files, we can exit out of Proxmark just for a sec, and we can see that it created the dump data bin and the keys bin. And here's an example of one that I've done previously. So let me actually remove that one. Dump data EML, because what we're going to do is create that file using the MFD to EML file. So Python give it our dump data.bin, which is all the files from the card, and we'll create one called test.eml. Files created. So now if we go back into the Proxmark, now you can open that file, that test.eml file, in the hex editor, and see, actually you don't have to on that one. If you run the testdata.bin, you can see it in hex. So now what we're going to do is use the high frequency MiFare cloud, which is essentially means clone the data, and we're going to take our test file, which was the test.eml, and instead of using this card, we're going to use one of these. And this is they're known as China cards, they're known as magic cards. Essentially, it's a card that allows the UID to be written. So we're going to put that on the reader. We're doing our MiFare using high frequency. We're cloning the data, and we're calling it test because that was what we did our file out to. Takes a moment. Boom. So now this card should match this card. So let's test that out. I'm going to put the high card on the reader. I'll put this over to the side for a moment. We'll use our command that we did before, the high frequency 14A reader. And we can see it gave a UID of A379CAB3. So if we switch out the cards, put the one that we just did, put this on the reader, do the same command. Well, helps if it can read the card. There we go. And we can see that it did exactly the same. So we now have a cloned card of the MiFare. Now the scary thing about this is that these cards are used in a lot of different hotels. In fact, going through, every time I go to a hotel, I've been finding that these are the same cards. And as you can see, they're really relatively easy. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. That's it.